Dogs are one of the most beautiful creatures in the world, and they are considered to be man's best friend. But in recent years, that particular notion seems to be changing. Man seems to have a new best friend. Hello and welcome to our special segment, Man's Best Friend. You're with Frank Pereira. Today I'm in Martali to meet a very special young man, and this young man builds robots. And let's go across to him and find out how exactly it started and what kicked off his robotic career. And his name is Ramaprasanna.
I've been doing this for years together. Everything started off into college when I first built my rolling dias, the kind of a random number generator using circuits. That was my first project. And that started off, and then I moved with creating bigger projects, impacting people, touching people's lives, starting my third year. At my college third year, I did my first project, which is mobile newsletter service. When mobile incoming call were like 6 rupees per minute incoming, I created a mobile SMS gateway, which kind of accompanied with another a small software component, which goes and fetches the news headlines from different newspapers and pushes it to all subscribers every morning. Immediately next year, when I was doing my final year engineering, I did my project which is called Disaster Alert System. When tsunami hit Tamil Nadu, when thousands of people were affected, as an engineer, I thought, okay, why don't I build an alert system? So that thought kindled me pushed me to create, or motivated me to create this project, which is called the Disaster Alert System. And what this software component does is it monitors the sensors which is placed in different parts of the world, understands the earthquake and the vibrations, and if there is a chance that there could be tsunami, it immediately triggers the device and alerts, which in turn alerts the people that there is a possibility of tsunami, so watch out. And this is my next project, which I did last year. Where I took this iRobot crate, which you would have seen in the video, me using a Roomba to clean the floor. It's pretty much the same base, and I powered this base with an x86 platform and gave it a kind of a shape. What it does is basically this can be remotely controlled from anywhere from this whole world, and I can see through this robot, and I can talk through this robot, and using this camera I can see who are standing in front of this robot. Basically, if you would have seen this Three Idiots, there would be a flying helicopter. This is basically a land version of that same thing. And what I did is I installed this at Microsoft Office, came back home, VPN'd into this robot x86 platform, and I was controlling this, going and knocking people's door in Microsoft Office. It was a whole lot of fun that night. buddyHome is very simple. I equip my whole home with computing, and that kind of keeps me away from intruders, helps me read the news in better fashion, helps me in reading magazines, keep track of my diet habits. So that's my buddyHome, my whole home with computing.
And apart from buddyHome, we'll get into buddyHome in detail a little while later, but then apart from buddyHome, what else do you have in this house?
Basically, there are different components from buddyHome. One is my cleaning module for the Roomba, which kind of keeps track if I'm away or if I'm at home. If I'm away, it starts sweeping my floor. That's one of the modules at buddyHome. And another, I have few robots, hexapods, with which I have fun with. We'll see in a moment these two hexapods dancing for Humma Humma, and a lot of exciting stuff.
Okay. And when did it all start off for you? I mean, when did the passion start?
Actually, it was a year ago. I missed my first flight, all because I couldn't wake up on time. And I have this problem, I don't hear the alarm. And I realized, being a computer science guy, being a robotics guy, why don't I build an arm which makes sure that I'm awake? So that's how everything started. I created my first arm to wake me up. Then, as time passed by, one day I was cooking, I was all alone at home, boring. Then I when I was cooking, I realized, it's a mundane task of stirring. Why don't me automate it? So that's when my noodle cooker came into picture, which I created, which kind of takes care of which kind of does the cooking for me. Then sweeping, needless to ask, almost every housewife's nightmare is cleaning the house. Then I came across this Roomba, then I integrated it with my buddyHome and image processing technology, and that kind of cleans the floor for me. So, this is not a project which started off with an end in mind. I just built modules which I needed it, then everything became a part of my buddyHome, then the whole concept was born.
A fascinating device indeed you have here, Ram. What do you call it?
This is my iRobo Create, actually. People sell it in the US. The company is called iRobo, and they create two types of devices. One is iRobo Roomba, which is the ready-made vacuum cleaner that comes, and this iRobo Create is for the developers like us. It's basically a development machine. So what I did is I bought this iRobo Create, mounted a Windows CE on top of it, the one you see here. That's actually a computer running Microsoft Windows CE, which is like a small Windows operating system, which is fitted with a webcam. So this whole device, what it does is it can see me. It can also recognize devices, objects, etc. So it kind of avoids the objects automatically, and it also sees that I'm not at home, and I don't want this device to roam around and clean when I am there. So it automatically understands that I'm out of my home and then starts cleaning.
And what does it run on?
Run on battery. And this version doesn't have the automatic charging capability. The next version has come up with an automatic charging capability where it automatically finds a socket and sits on the adapter for it to charge itself.
So when did you actually build this device?
It was around a few months back. I didn't have my maid at the time, and cleaning was really tough, believe me. And in fact, a lot of housewives in India tell me the same thing. I came across this cool iRobo Create, then I mounted a car vacuum cleaner on top of it, then I made it run. Then it was running and there was a little bit noise, then I didn't want this to run when I'm at home. Then I fitted this with an image recognition system which kind of recognizes me. Then I also wondered, it was going and getting stuck under the sofa, etc. So I reprogrammed this whole device to recognize objects. So this whole device can clean my home when I'm not there without disturbing me, and also it can recognize obstacles and move away from it. This is a custom-made robotic arm. So what you see in here is the power circuit, and this is a controller circuit fitted with the 3 servo motors. And in fact, this is the arm which I employ to wake me up, to cook, etc. And this is a device, and I leave it to your imagination to think what all it can do. Project Unmute is basically a component in buddyHome. When I was playing with the software, as I told you, it's more like a gesture recognition software. It suddenly struck me. If I'm able to recognize gestures, I should be able to recognize gesture sequences. Then I thought, that's how all these dumb people, the people who are challenged with speech talk, right? With sequence of gestures. So that was the starting point, like this part. And then I built this module or the project called Project Unmute, where I recognize gestures and gesture sequences, and I pass it on to a module, real expression module, and so the language module, which kind of frames the sentences. So any guy who's challenged with speech can walk into my home and talk to me in gestures. My buddyHome will recognize my entire gesture sequences and talk on his behalf.
And how far is the research gone on this particular front?
The POC is done, and there is a proof that this will work, and I made my buddyHome speak "How are you" in few sentences. Now I'll show you my dancing robots.
Well, that's all we have for you in our special segment today, and it's time now to leave the buddy home. Along with camera person Gurcharan Singh, this is Frank Pirara saying ciao.